Hello everyone and welcome to this pitskill.io Porsche Cup sponsored by SimQuips as we head into round 3 here at Circuit Ricard on a very sunny French day as we head into our 15-minute qualifying session as Sights, one of the drivers battling for the lead in our last round, takes to the track first for their first flying lap. Just finishing the first of those flying laps, so very soon we should see at least a benchmark time for everyone to aim for. As Sights comes across the line now. And, but that was only his outlap, so let's go on board for Sights for a lap of this Ricard circuit in the Porsche 992 Cup car. Very close to the track limits there for Sights. It's going to be interesting to see how these drivers contend with the track limits here in these cars. Very, very twitchy. And patience, I think, is going to be the winner of the day here with this very long corners here at Ricard, and a car that does like to step away. As we have the long back straight here, where we could talk about just about anything as the car makes its way down to the very slight braking zone here. Well controlled by Sights. Looks like just taking it easy for his banker lap. No need to push early. As I was saying, patience order of the day through many of these corners in the third sector. Wait, and then put the throttle down. There's a few corners remaining for Sights, and we'll get an idea what lap times to expect from these cars tonight. The final corner now to go. It's a tight right-hander over 90 degrees. And down to the start-finish line goes Sights for a 1 minute 57.0. I am ashamed to say that is far too close to the sort of time that I can do in a GT3 car around here. But a solid lap from Sights, and so far as we start to see some other drivers finishing their laps, so far remains undefeated as Ricard Tattersall, another one of our drivers who was fighting for the lead in our previous race, just 7.5 hundredths of a second off of that time set by Sights. Next driver to set the time will be Bernard Bendel. As we come into the third sector, Bendel keeping it tidy for now. Although, looking at the Delta, going to be a little way off the time, or off the pace here is Bendel, but plenty of time to build upon these laps. For a lot of these drivers, they won't have had much experience in these cars around this circuit, as Pitskill is primarily a GT3 focused organiser. There's a little bit of a wobble coming out of the final corner for Bernard. Comes down to cross the line for a 1 minute 58.9, solid effort, and certainly room for some improvement there. As we check in with our generous sponsor for this Porsche Cup Series, Chris Wright, who embarrassingly has not set his team name within Pitskill. As we can see, his team is just called My Team. He does cross the line with a slight improvement there for a 58.0, just 1 second off of that time set first time around by Sights. We'll hop over to our race winner from round 2, who's getting a little bit of a wiggle on as he comes around the third sector. With just 2 more corners to navigate for Ryan Ware in the pit crew liveried Porsche Cup car. Here he comes to cross the line, and it is a 1:58.7. But P6 for now for Ware, but as we saw in round 2, don't necessarily need to qualify at the front in order to win these races. As Sights looks to improve on that time he's already set. Currently sitting on a 1:57.0. He's definitely got a couple of tenths in the bag at least. Just a few corners remaining. This should be a solid improvement and will give us an idea of the pace of these cup cars around this circuit. Sights crosses the line. Going to be a 1:56.7. Just further extending that benchmark for the other drivers to try and compete with. As Oliver White looked like he was improving, but has invalidated that lap, so we will see who else can improve on their previous best, as Bernard Bendel heads on to the long back straight. And this is going to be the part of the track where we're going to look forward to, on the first lap, hearing the roar of all 12 of these Porsche Cup cars steaming down the straight. It will certainly be quite a noise. Even one on its own is quite the symphony. As we head into the third sector for Bendel. Cutting the corner beautifully, and it does look like just there Bendel did invalidate this lap, so will not be improving this time around. Let's just nurse that car back to the start finish line and go again. And we'll see if Oliver White can keep it tidy this time around. Currently sitting on a 2:01.4, some 4.7 seconds off the pace at the moment, but so far looking like an improving lap. And with one sector to go, plenty of opportunity to find some more time and move themselves up the orders. We've got yellow flags out for our provisional pole sitter Sights, who returns to the pit lane. There's White now. A fair chunk up on their previous best. Should be a decent improvement here and should see them jump way up the standings. Final corner to go now. Tapping that apex curb as he comes down to cross the line. What time is it going to be? It is a 1:59.3 and moves White up into P8. As we'll check in with Reese Tattersall. Who is looking to try and challenge that time set by Sights. The He throws the car in, gets close to the apex, not quite as much over the curb as one might expect, but looking like a solid lap so far. You can just keep it tidy until the end. This could be a decent improvement and could see Tattersall challenging for pole position with just over 3 minutes of this session remaining. There's Tattersall leaving absolutely nothing on the table, still finding time through every corner. The final corner to go. This is where it's won or lost as he heads towards the line. A slight loss of time around the final corner, but it's certainly going to be a big improvement. 156.2, and that provisional pole position for Tattersall at the moment. But still plenty of time for our other drivers to set another couple of laps. This driver we haven't checked in yet with Florent Demore in the D-Love Racing Porsche Cup car. Just the final corner to navigate, and looking for a solid improvement here. Should see them jump up ahead of Goossens. And us up into P9 for now. There's Christian Feig looking for an improvement as well. As there's quite a number of cars in this one section of the track. Hopefully they do not get in each other's way. Looks like there's enough of a gap between them for now at least. It actually might be that the car behind is getting a little bit of a tow down the straight here. Could work out well for them. Not quite sure who that is behind. Might be Goossens. Looking at my timing screen. And does seem like Faye, just in a few corners, has thrown away a little bit of that time. Not going to be improving as much as they previously were hoping for. But still could find some time in the final corner. Oh, gets the rear out. Doesn't actually harm their time too much with just a short run down towards the line. And it's an improvement in time, if not in position for Faye. And now our drivers are entering onto what will be their final laps of the session. There's Oliver Seitz, currently in P2 with half a second to find. As Tattersall has further improved on their pole time with a 1:56.167 is the target to beat. And so far, Seitz about 1.5 seconds up on their previous best. Has got 3.5 tenths to find. As the timer hits 0 on the session, these will be now final few corners for each of these drivers. As Oliver Seitz using as much of the track as possible. But I don't think it's going to be enough. A little bit of a snap of the car, a little bit over rotation, just over driving just that little bit, and dives into the pit lane. He knows he hasn't done enough for pole position. As we've just got a couple of drivers now remaining to try and improve on their time. The first of those will actually be this man, Steve Goossens, in the amazing Goose Porsche Cup car. In the Well, I'm sure you all saw what was on the livery of that car, both in terms of text and imagery, so I don't need to read that out for you. As Ryan Ware has just half a sector left to navigate and 0.2 of a second to find if he wants to jump up ahead of Chris Wright. And all I can say is it looks like this one is going to be close. All going to come down to this final corner. As Ryan Ware comes to cross the line, is it going to be enough to poach P3 from Wright? It is not. And by just 0.03 of a second, our grid for tonight will be Rhys Tattersall, Oliver Seitz and Chris Wright. We'll go to a short break and we'll be right back with tonight's race. Welcome back everyone, and as we get ready to start this race tonight, we just about have time to go through our grid for tonight's race. On pole position we have got Rhys Tattersall, followed in second by Oliver Seitz. We have Chris Wright, Ryan Ware completing the second row. Then have Sam McCarthy and Bernard Bendel, Christian Fay and Oliver White. We have Florent Demore and Steve Goosens. Then we have, and I do apologise if I mispronounce this, Zvembratovic and Charlemai. I do apologise. But as our drivers start their engines and get ready to put away onto their formation lap, we'll be just minutes away from the green flag in tonight's race. Rhys Tattersall leads our pack around. And with this being a long circuit at the best of times, and with the reduced speed limit down this long straight, it's certainly going to be a long formation lap. So plenty of time for these drivers to get their tyres into the window they want them in. I see plenty of drivers employing various techniques to get the heat into the tyres. Some, like as we can see from Tattersall here, accelerating and braking, popular technique. Others will just be holding their brakes and dragging the brakes down the straight. And as we can see, Ryan Ware with the tiny wiggles, which I don't really believe do anything. If you want to get heat into the tyres, you need to weave across the entire track. Just a little wiggle isn't going to do much. You see, what Ware's doing here, it needs to be more like this. This is how you get the heat. As, well, I know I mentioned we wanted the roar of 12 Porsche Cup cars coming down this straight. This isn't it. This just isn't it. These Porsche Cup cars, although they sound glorious at high revs, low revs, they sound a little flatulent. Oh, as we have got a spinner. Who is that? Is that Sam McCarthy? It was. Well, we're going to get our first replay before the race even starts. What has happened here? And off into the run-out before we're even underway. Well, hopefully he should have time to get himself back into position before the race starts. As we get ready to get this race underway here at Paul Ricard. As our drivers round the final corner. As the lights go green, and we are racing at Paul Ricard. And looks like Tatzel and Seitz have got a good start, but it is Ryan Ware who's getting alongside Chris Wright into the braking zone as Chris Wright goes deep, but Sam McCarthy goes even deeper, and there's contact behind as Seitz is round, McCarthy's round. And it looks like that is also Feig who is round. We've got yellow flags out for, well, seems like half of the field. And let's get ourselves a replay of that one. And what has happened here? So this was all instigated by McCarthy, who goes exceptionally deep into the first corner. Hit Seitz is around, and we have got 5 cars round and well back in this race, which all in all has given this man up in front, Rhys Tattersall, a considerable lead. Behind, we have a closer battle as Ryan Ware is being chased by Bernard Bendel and Chris Wright. There's Chris Wright been overtaken at some point there by Bendel. We didn't see what it is, but Chris Wright back on the attack. Up the inside of Bendel. And will he hold on to this into the braking zone? Around now. That's right, got that position off of Bendel. He's now in third position behind Ware. As Seitz is fighting his way back through. He's just got up past Katchelmeyer. And got a straightforward pass around the outside. Seitz recovering from that early race spin. But our eyes must go back to the front of the field as Chris Wright chases down Ryan Ware for P2. And right now, glued to the back of Ware. And onto the long back straight, and right in prime position, right in the slipstream of Ware, and Ware is just going to be checking his mirrors, knowing the inevitable is coming. With such a long straight, there's not really much you can do to defend against it once the car is that close behind. And Wright moves up into second position. And all of this battling behind has given Tattersall one hell of a lead. Now 5 seconds out in front of this pair. Oliver Sykes continues to battle his way through. He's now up into P7 and looking to challenge the number 112. He pulls out of the slipstream and in the braking zone. For turn one they go, side by side. His sight's done enough to get alongside. Looks like he has as they come around. Through. And Sights is up into P6 now. There's out in front. Wright has not been able to drop Ware yet. And is it going to be a reverse of what we saw the lap before? As Ware securely in the slipstream of Wright. Which way is he going to go? Goes to the inside. And this should be, again, a nice straightforward move for Ware. As he comes into the braking zone. Is Wright going to try and hang it on around the outside? Or is going to give it a go? Ware leaves him plenty of room. Nice respectful racing from the pair of them. But Ware has held the position. Remains to be seen if either of these drivers can get enough of advantage over the other to start to pull away. As Sights is eyeing up for another pass as they come round to finish off the lap. And Sights now not actually far off of that battle for second place. Just 3.5 seconds behind Chris Wright. As Sights moves up. P5. As we come around to finish off the final sector now and head onto the long back straight, and looks like this time Wright is a little bit further back than we've seen before, but in that slipstream which is so strong in these cars, and looks like Wright is gaining, and I suspect we could see these two drivers switching places every lap. I think Chris Wright has just got to hope and pray that we've got an even number of laps remaining. Yes, we will leave these two for a moment as we wait for them to come back around to the long straight, as well we see McCarthy again having contact with another car. As McCarthy not having the best day of it. Let's see what happened here. So McCarthy in a little bit of a sandwich here. Moves to the side to give room. Oh, and it is the car on the outside that runs wide, and well, both cars running wide there, and looked just a little bit clumsy all round, if I'm going to be honest. There's Oliver Seitz, has another driver in his sights. Seitz is up past Bernhard Bendel. Bendel not giving up this fight and could have a run if he manages to keep close enough down the long straight. Seitz getting that car perfectly rotated through the corners. You can just see the back stepping out ever so slightly, and not enough to losing the traction on these long straight. And as we head into the third sector now for lap 4 of this race, lap 5 of this race. And this time, Ryan Ware was not close enough to get the switch round on the long straight. So, the first time in a while that we've seen these two drivers in the same positions they started the lap. Is where we'll be just trying to edge ever so closer to the back of right. And there's going to be acutely aware of Seitz closing in the mirrors. Seitz, who's, well, over the past few laps picked off one driver per lap. Might be just a little too far back to have a go at Ware this time around. We're getting closer to right ahead. This time 0.9 seconds back, was 1.1 last time around. Is this going to be close enough? Use the slipstream? I suspect not, as that gap does not seem to be changing much. And actually the gap back from Ware to Seitz now shortening and shortening. The Seitz will be looming large in the mirrors for Ware. This has now become a three-way battle over P2 in this race. There's Oliver Seitz closing in on Ryan Ware. Back now down to 0.7 seconds, and Oliver Seitz, unfortunate to get caught out in that lap 1 incident, but in doing so has given us quite the spectacle. He's been carving his way through the field. And it's going to be the double slipstream for Seitz, so they come down the back straight. He's getting closer and closer to where might not be close enough this lap. Go for the move, but is now right tucked up behind our third place driver. Sykes taking a very wide line, cutting back, getting a good run out of the corner, and is now tucked right up behind Wet. Could even be eyeing up an opportunity for a pass into the first corner, as Ware is now caught right up to right. I don't know if there was a mistake in that previous lap for right, but Ware now closer than he's been in a while. And it's anyone's guess as to what position these drivers will be in by the end of this lap. As we approach the halfway mark in this race. The battle for P2 hots up as Chris Wright leads Ryan Ware ahead of Oliver Seitz. I'm not sure how long this is going to be the order for these drivers, as the gap between Ware and Wright and between Seitz and Ware, half a second as they come onto this back straight. As we've seen before, that's been more than close enough to affect a pass in the past. And this could be chaos heading into the final corner. So the corner at the end of the straight. Looks like Wright done enough to stay ahead. These three heading around the track like they're attached by rope, as close as they are. Seitz again opting for that wide line and have a good run out of the corner. I think Ware just having to push that bit harder now. Is tucked up right behind Chris Wright. And Ryan Ware has a little bit of a moment on the curb, and this has allowed Seitz through up into P3. And the two of these battling has allowed Chris Wright to move away a little bit, but not for long, as Oliver Seitz now tucked right up behind Chris Wright as we head around again onto that long back straight. And is Chris Wright going to be able to hold on for another lap? As so far, Wright is ahead as they come through the corner. Wright still ahead. And Wright lives to fight another day. We're checking with the battle behind. This now Oliver White tucked up behind Steve Goosens. It looks like Goosens running a little wide there. As we've got hard fighting down in our midfield at the moment. Always a aggressive and brave move by White. Goosens just having to open up the door and leave space to avoid contact. And I'm not sure he's going to be too pleased with that move from White, but well, he's not going to be gaining back the position by breaking that late, I can say that for sure. So White up into P7 and Goosens now drop down into P8. We check back in with our lead group, or our second lead group, as Ricard has checked out in the lead for now. 14 seconds ahead of this group. But Oliver Seitz trying every line he can to try and get past Chris Wright as they once again head onto the back straight, and it looks like Wright all just running wide onto the long back straight. Has that compromised his entry speed onto the straight? Is this going to be an opportunity for Seitz now? The 0.4 seconds back, not quite catching at the rate we've seen before. We head into the braking zone. Seitz still comfortably behind. Right, and we go again. You see, Seitz does love this wide line, and using it to such good effect, but not quite able to get alongside Wright, as we have got the back marker ahead. Could make things interesting. As the back marker gets well out of the way of Wright, out of the way of Seitz, and I think out of the way of Ware as well. But will not be getting involved in this battle. We've got yellow flags up for Kachalmeyer. As we head down the back straight again, I still don't think Seitz is close enough. Opening up the corner, hoping to get the better run through. Changing up the tactic as Seitz not able to catch up along the straight, trying now to get the better run out of the corner it seems, but still Wright holding on to the position with just over 8.5 minutes remaining in this race. Can Chris Wright just absorb this pressure? As Ryan Ware does seem to be just slipping back ever so slightly. Not sure if there's a slight mistake made. Seitz, we'll have a good run on this straight. Chris Wright just taking a little bit of a tighter line. And Seitz moves to the outside. He's going to have his line blocked off by Chris Wright. And at the moment, Wright doing just enough to keep Seitz behind. At this point, Rhys Tattersall will be breathing a sigh of relief. Didn't have to fight for this win. And with these cars now all 16 seconds back, it's going to be a tall order for anyone to catch up, even if Seitz was to get clear of Wright straight away. There's Seitz running extremely wide there onto the back straight. Not sure if that's going to be a track cut picked up. Certainly an invalidated lap. Seitz closing in. I'll just wait until the camera changes, but still behind is Seitz. Not close enough to make that move. think we're past the point in this race where we're going to see a move made every lap as Sights diving deep into the corner. Not quite sure what he was hoping to achieve with that one. Just runs very deep. These three still so close together. Right, soaking up the pressure. But we have seen some phenomenal pace from Sights in this race. So is he just holding a little something back? Looking after those tyres. There's Right, runs wide again. But I imagine just keeping the throttle planted even though he runs wide. You can only do that so many times before you pick up so many track cuts warnings that results in a penalty. But so far, none of these drivers having picked up a track cuts penalty. Sights is able to open that corner up and get on the throttle just that much earlier. But it's not enough to get alongside before the next corner. It's not really doing him that many favours. Other than maybe just protecting the tyres a little bit more as he's not dragging them through the corner. Yes, we've got yellow flags out for Oliver White. What's happened here? Oh, a bit of a Tokyo drift through the third sector. Does well to hold it and then does not so well to hold it a second time. Certainly an impressive catch of the drift the first time around. But now, as we head on to the second sector again for this trio, they are now all so close to each other. And it actually looks like Ware with the better run this time. Sights running out wide. This could be an opportunity for Ware to get back at Sights. That looks like Sights just using that slipstream from right ahead to not lose the position to Ware. He's right, running a little wide, and Sights alongside. He's going to go for his usual deep braking. Oh, but it's too deep. Is he going to be able to get back alongside on the exit? He does. Right, giving him plenty of room there, racing him fair. Could have closed the door on him. Perhaps didn't realise that Sights had just dropped that little bit behind him. And wanted to play it safe. But now Sights up into P2. And we have to see if he can unleash some of that pace that he was clearly displaying earlier in the race. And it's now going to be Chris Wright under pressure from Ryan Ware behind. It was just that small mistake which cost Wright P2. Oh, as Sights runs wide. this could cost it. Ooh, as Wright has to make avoiding action there, not go into the back of Sights. It does seem like the rear is just stepping away from Sights ever so slightly, losing that rear traction. But it is Ryan Ware who's now tucked right up behind Chris Wright. Chris Wright having a look up the inside of Oliver's sights. Not going to be an opportunity there, but is this presenting an opportunity to Ryan Ware? He's been patiently sat in behind these two, lap after lap now. As our leader, Rhys Tattersall, enters onto the final lap of this race. As time has been flying, has been watching this battle between Sights, Wright and Ware. As our leader is checked out in front. To be one more long run down the back straight here at Paul Ricard. Decide who will take P2 in this race. As Sam McCarthy has made it by Demore round the outside into the final corner. Look like Demore carrying a little bit of damage there. But McCarthy safely through. We check back in with our battle for P2 as they head onto the back straight. Is Wright close enough as they head into the fast right-hander? He is not, and it looks like Sights has secured himself P2 in this race. As we check back in with our race leader, Rhys Tattersall, who has, well, avoided much of the commentary and perhaps some of the commentators' curse that may have befallen him out at Bathurst. But as he rounds the final corner, no such bad luck for him tonight as he takes the checkered flag here at Paul Ricard and wins round 3 of the pitskill.io Porsche Cup, sponsored by SimQuips. As Chris Wright and Sights barely separated by a millimetre as they come across the line, P2 and P3, followed by Ryan Ware in P4. It's a hard battle by these three drivers all race. Congratulations to them for keeping it clean as Bernard Bendel crosses the line for P5. There's Christian Fay in the unsafety car racing Porsche Cup. Across the line in P6. Followed closely behind by Steve Goosens in the Amazing Goose liveried car. We then have Sam McCarthy, who's had a little bit of a scrappy race today and will probably be happy to see the back of this one. And then we have Florent Demore. And then not showing off his drifting skills this time around, but coming home P10 will be Oliver White. And then with a little bit of a wiggly rear end is Gerjo Zembratovic. To finish this race in P11. So, congratulations to all of our drivers for tonight's race. As we take a look at our finishing order for the race, it was Rhys Tattersall, followed by Oliver Seitz, Chris Wright, Ryan Ware, Bernard Bendel, Christian Feig, Steve Goosens, Dan McCarthy, Florent Demore, Oliver White, Gerjo Zembrutovics, and Kachelmeyer. Apologies, I forgot your first name. We'll be having a little break from broadcast next week as I will be out of the country, but we will return in a couple of weeks when the pitskill.io Porsche Cup, sponsored by SimQuips, will be heading to my local track, Brands Hatch. So see you then in 2 weeks. Have a lovely rest of your day. Thank you very much for watching. Good night.